Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Silvana. I am a certified functional nutritionist, and I like to cover topics pertaining to women's health, especially where nutrition and lifestyle are related. If you're interested in these type of topics, be sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. So today we're going to talk about a topic that I found fascinating through my training. It's epigenetics. And if you're wondering what epigenetics is, essentially, it's the way that your genes are affected by outside factors. So let's take a deeper dive. In the International Journal of Yoga, in the blame game of genetic disorders, genes are credited with the disrupting lives of millions of people around the world. The disruption of any system in the body is blamed as a bad gene effect. You can pause to read the rest because I'm going to skip to the bottom. Epigenetics literally means above genetics, meaning that which controls the organism beyond genetics. By the end of the last century, it was known that DNA by itself does not determine all characteristics of an organism, including humans. The environment, stress one perceives, and nutrition, to name a few, play a vital part in determining the response of an organism as much as DNA itself. Thus, it is known now that both nature or genetics and nurture or environmental factors play equally important roles in the responses observed, both at the cellular and organism level. Thus, humans are affected by both genetic and epigenetic factors. So, we are affected by external factors. It's not just about genetics. Let's keep going. Okay, let's take a bit of a deeper dive. So, according to the CDC in Genomics and Your Health, this is what it is. Your genes play an important role in your health, but so do your behaviors and environment, such as what you eat and how physically active you are. Epigenetics refers to how your behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way that your genes work. Unlike genetic changes or mutations, epigenetics changes are reversible and do not change the sequence of DNA bases, but they can change how your body reads a DNA sequence. Gene expression refers to the process of making a protein using the instructions from genes. A person's DNA includes many genes. Each gene includes instructions for making proteins. Additionally, there are other sections of DNA that are not part of any gene but are important for making sure the genes work properly. These DNA sections provide directions about where in the body the protein is made, when it is made, and how much is made. While changes to the gene or mutation can change the protein that is made, epigenetic changes affect gene expression to turn genes on and off. This can mean that genes make proteins in cells and tissues where or when they normally would not, or that genes don't make proteins and where and when they normally would. It can also mean that genes make more or less of a protein than they normally would. There are several ways an environmental factor can cause an epigenetic change to occur. One of the most common ways is by causing change to DNA methylation. DNA methylation works by adding a chemical known as methyl group to DNA. This chemical can also be removed from the DNA through a process called demethylation. Typically, methylation turns genes off, and demethylation turns genes on. Thus, environmental factors can impact the amount of protein a cell makes. Less protein might be made if an environmental factor causes an increase in DNA methylation, and more protein might be made if a factor causes an increase in demethylation. So, outside factors, environmental, nutritional factors, can impact and turn on or off certain genes. Interesting, or at least I think so. Let's keep going. Okay, let's take a peek at a different perspective. According to Vanderbilt University in Basic Science, in general, the big question that scientists are trying to answer is how genetic information, or DNA, and information encoded in DNA is used. The basic problem is that every cell in your body has, for the most part, the same DNA content. And we know DNA is the blueprint for life. But we also know that all the cells in our bodies are different. A cell in the iris of our eyes is very different from a cell in the liver or a cell from a muscle. How can the same blueprint lead to such differences? For a long time, scientists have been asking questions about how cells achieve such diversity and plasticity, even though they're working from the same script. The answer to that question is that cells read different parts of the blueprint depending on on what their function is. And the process of reading blueprint in different bits of it is called gene expression. The field of gene expression is trying to understand in a very broad term, the molecular process that allows the use of genetic information. Some of the control of gene expression is hardwired into the DNA sequence, but not all. This is where epigenetics comes in. Formally speaking, epigenetics, or epi meaning above, is any form of control of gene expression that is above the level of the DNA or that is not encoded directly in the DNA. It refers to a layer of regulation that has to do with how with the genetic material is labeled and packaged. Every cell has about 2 meters or 6 feet of DNA in it, and it exists in huge strands that are folded and wrapped around proteins into structures that layer on top of each other and pack into a sphere that is just a few micrometers in diameter. It's the ultimate storage solution on one hand, but it also means that the cell can control how information is used by packaging or labeling the genetic material in a specific way. Our bodies are super complex, ladies. It's not as simple as finding one root cause or changing one aspect and expecting a giant change to occur. It's a very complicated process. That's why it's important to take a whole body system approach versus just looking for one root cause, because there is never just one root cause. By the way, don't forget to subscribe and like. I'd really appreciate it, and it would help me to continue making these videos. Let's keep going. Okay, let's take a peek at what time has to say about epigenetics. Epigenetics bring both good news and bad. Bad news first. There is evidence that lifestyle choices like smoking and eating too much can change the epigenetic marks atop your DNA in ways that can cause the genes for obesity to express themselves too strongly and the genes for longevity to express themselves too weakly. But we know that these are factors that we can change. These are lifestyle factors that we can change. Now, they're also saying that it's becoming clear that those same bad behaviors can also predispose your kids before they're even conceived to disease and early death. I do want to say that our children are actually predicted to have shorter lifespans than we are. And that is actually a prediction as a result of the chronic illnesses that are lifestyle illnesses. These next two paragraphs talk about the FDA and medication. If you're interested in that, you can go ahead and stop. I'm going to skip to the bottom. The funny thing is, scientists have known about epigenetic marks since at least the 1970s. But until the late 90s, epigenetic phenomena were regarded as a sideshow to the main event, DNA. To be sure, epigenetic marks were always understood to be important. After all, a cell in your brain and a cell in your kidney contain the same exact DNA. Interesting. Okay, we're almost finished, but let's talk about actual nutrition and how epigenetics are affected by nutrition and lifestyle factors. Let's keep going. Okay, and in closing, let's take a peek at what Science Direct has to say in this review here. I am going to skip towards the bottom. If you would like to read the entire conclusion of their narrative review, please pause to read. According to the scientific evidence so far, diet plays a critical role in both health and disease. Embracing and promoting healthy diets enriched in nutrients of high biological value, such as SEAD, are crucial to guarantee the well being of and disease prevention in the population. Disease prevention. New scientific evidence in epigenetics and nutrition are necessary to establish the mechanism through which food interferes with the expression of genes. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and just going to add a few things. So in the United States, there's a 347 million Americans in this country, and almost half, 133 million, have a chronic disease. That's almost half. According to the CDC, that number is supposed to reach to 170 million by 2030. I didn't include these statistics, but that is easily searchable. Okay, we are leading the world among developed countries in chronic diseases. We are leading among developed countries in chronic diseases. The standard American diet is not helping us. Our lifestyle is not helping us. We're sedentary. We're eating food that is packed with anti-nutrients, packed with sugar, preservatives, dyes, everything that's working against our body. And it shows because we are a chronically ill nation. So, how about we make food more affordable for everyone? Not just some, everyone. And when I say food, I mean whole foods. So instead of eating applesauce, eating an apple. Or instead of drinking orange juice, eating an orange. How about we make food more affordable for everyone? We start to move more, we go outside more, we have a good social circle. Those are all aspects of a healthy lifestyle and longevity. It's really important that we make a change because our children are predicted to live shorter lifespans than us. And that's pretty sad and it's pretty concerning if you ask me. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. Join me next week for another edition of, it's going to be another topic about epigenetics. And please make sure to hit that subscribe button and to like my video. That would really help me a lot. See you next week.